No other guest in the history of this station, I don't think, has ever had an intro like that. That was the most elaborate, produced intro for a guest, for a weekly guest that we've ever had. Mike, I hope you appreciate the work that went into that.
I am both touched, and I feel like it accurately captured the three of us and our personalities. I think it all came out right there in that thing. The way Andy finished that was perfect Andy Hart right there.
Yeah. Are we going to play that every single time we have him on?
Why not?
I mean, we might as well.
What, are you opposed to it?
No, I'm not. It's very unlike any other intro we have for any. Like Schefter doesn't get that. Scal doesn't get it. Nobody. Ross Tucker, no one else does.
Schefter and Scal shouldn't get that. Let's be real, okay?
This is Mike Giardi. Now,
Mike freaking Giardi.
I will say he has to live up to the intro, it's all for naught.
That's a lot of pressure on you, Mike. You okay with that?
Yeah.
I'm good. Let's do it.
All right. So let's start with what we were just talking about, Jerod Mayo, who I feel like has been the talking point since the thunderous press conference last January, straight on through for everything he does and says. What grade would you give Jerod Mayo right now for his first year in New England as an inexperienced head coach who was probably ill-equipped for the job he's in?
D+.
What was that?
D+.
Ooh.
D+.
Ouch.
Yeah.
Passing.
Look,
passing, but not by much.
Not by much. I think we all thought there would be growing pains. I think it would have been unfair to think that wouldn't happen, despite the sort of lofty goals or maybe the vision that the Robert and Jonathan had for him. But I think there's been so many missteps, and even when he's tried to clean it up, he makes a bigger mess sometimes. It's just, whether it's through the public comments or some of the stuff that's happened on the field. And where's the improvement been? You're a defensive-minded head coach, and yeah, you had some injuries, but that shouldn't be like this big, massive excuse for why your defense is now one of the bottom defenses in the league after being a top 10 defense a year ago, whether those numbers are manufactured or not. So I don't know, what's his identity? What's the identity of the football team? I don't think we really know any of that, and we're in December. Show me something, please.
What do you think has been, in terms of his contribution to the defense getting worse, what have you sort of observed have been his biggest weakness as far as that's concerned? Because we all know that Bill was great at game planning and sort of picking out weaknesses and taking guys away. What do you think Mayo has not been doing?
Well, look, in a lot of cases, the defensive coordinator comes up with the plan, or the coach tells them, hey, look, whatever we do, let's make sure Puka Nacua and Cooper Kupp don't beat us. You go craft the plan, bring it back to me, I stamp it, and we go on. Or I look at it and go, that's crap, as Parcells used to do with Belichick. Go fix it. Well, he's approved a lot of these plans, and then in-game, where's the adjustment? When Puka Nacua is just tearing you apart and you're playing Christian Gonzalez on the boundary, there was no rationale to not move him, but they didn't, and they waited. A couple weeks ago, it was the waiting to go to the bigger front to stop the run. Why are you waiting? Why didn't you make the adjustment sooner? It's like they wait too long or they don't do it at all. And to me, that's a big part of the head coach just looking at it going hey, DeMarcus, what we're doing right now, it sucks. Fix it. Do something else.
So during the bye week, we always hear about self-scouting. Now, it's usually a little earlier in the year. This is a little weird because it's kind of on the precipice of the end of the season and your full sort of debrief to end the year. But what do you think he might learn about his football team? And we were just having a discussion. Do you think there's a chance he alters anything in a noticeable fashion over the final 4 weeks, whether that's style of play, aggression, I don't even know, lineup moving forward? Or do you think we're just going to kind of play out the string for a month?
I think they've already started to give you what their adjustment is going to be, and the adjustment is going to be you're going to see more of Alex Austin and Isaiah Bolden and allegedly maybe Javon Baker, who sort of started the game, and I was thinking in the last game they're just going to do it. They're just going to let him play a little bit more, and then I think he got 2 or 4 snaps, and that was it, right? It stopped happening. But it feels like Layden Robinson finally going over to left guard and going wire to wire, that it's just okay, there is a responsibility to at least figure out if some of the guys in their draft class, some of the younger players are actually pieces that you can say, we can count on this guy next year. I can envision a bigger role as opposed to, just trotting out the same old guys and getting the same old results.
We're talking with Mike Giardi of the Boston Sports Journal. Mike, as far as this past draft has gone, Drake May was a big hit, obviously. Everybody else seems to be a pretty serious whiff. What do you think in terms of this next upcoming draft, considering that they went all offense basically this past year? Do you go back into the offensive well again and try and make up for some of the misses that you had, or do you have to focus on defense now? Which direction do you think Elliott Wolf goes, and which direction should he go?
Well, I think a big part of this is going to come down to what they do with their money in free agency. And I think we all thought that they would spend more money in free agency on players that weren't previously in the building. It turns out they basically spent money on players that were in the building and didn't do much outside. And the guys that they did do outside didn't work out at all. Okorafor, Amon Watts, all these guys. So I think, if they land T. Higgins, then maybe that changes the way you're approaching. Okay, well, now we've got the alpha, and maybe you don't think he's a one, but he's a one here, and you can fill in the blanks with the guys that you already have on the roster. Maybe Polk gets out of this funk, or hey, Pop's a good three, or whatever the case may be, could alter how you approach it. But the problem with the draft is, and I'm not knee deep into it yet, but just having made some early calls on it, and obviously the people that do deal with it, the Dane Bruglers of the world from The Athletic, it's not a great draft, guys. Really lacking. He did his first round mock the other day, and it was after Travis Hunter, you go, would that guy have been in the top 10 last year's draft? Nope. And couldn't you see this guy who he's got going 4 end up going 24, because that's how wildly the variation on how teams value these players? Will Campbell, they had him slotted at number 4, right? Will Campbell might be a guard. In fact, I've talked to a lot of people that think he's a guard. Now, whether the Patriots think that, I don't know, but you need a tackle. It would make perfect sense if he was your tackle that's what you do there. But if they think he's a guard, you don't draft a guard at where you are right now, which would be number 4 overall.
Yeah, it's like we scripted it. You led me right into my question. I'm sure you're familiar with the Andy Hart plan to fix the Patriots. It's had its various forms over the last year plus. The new part of the Andy Hart plan, tell me what you think about it. Trade the number 1 pick to the Dallas Cowboys for Micah Parsons and hand him $100 and whatever million to be the centerpiece of your pass rush on defense in front of Christian Gonzalez.
Nope. Don't want him.
Wait, what? Did you say don't want him?
Don't want him.
That's exactly what I said. I said I don't want him.
You hitting the eggnog early, Grandpa?
If I was easy, fella, there's only one of us in this phone call that likes eggnog, and it's you.
That's true.
So nasty. If I was going to trade the 1, we were just kicking this around on my podcast the other day about what about Jamar Chase? What if
6 rings. Whoa. 6 rings did that on the podcast 6 months ago.
True.
That's why you're so far behind. Then Schefter told me there was no shot in hell that Chase was getting out of Cincy, so I had to move on to another dream, and it's Micah Parsons. What's wrong with Micah Parsons? Come back to that.
Well, hey, wait. Wasn't Jimmy Garoppolo not going anywhere? Wasn't it not even 4 first-round picks was going to get Jimmy Garoppolo out of New England? So look, whatever.
Giardi calls out Schefter.
Yeah, aggregate that,
twice
bitches.
Now.
Look, they're 4-8, and it could get worse there. And T. Higgins is going to walk out the door unless they want to franchise him again. And their defense has been dreadful this year, historically bad. They're, in these losses, they're averaging 40 points a game or something, and they're losing games. It's that just doesn't happen. So what if they just look at it and say, look, man, we're in the Buffalo Bills. We got a great quarterback. We can surround him with a little bit less. Pat Mahomes, same thing. Surround him with a little bit less, maybe put some resources elsewhere. And, hey, what if we can get 4 draft picks in the top 100 picks for Jamar Chase in the next 2 drafts?
Mike,
Would you consider it?
I would consider it.
Yeah, I'd definitely consider that.
Yeah.
Who wouldn't? Yeah.
Jamar Chase and
for
Drake
Jamar
May?
Chase, sure, yeah.
Hello, my entertainment value at the very least just went up significantly.
Yeah. Oh, 100% it would. Mike, before we let you go here, the coaching carousel is already starting to heat up a little bit. There's some coaching vacancies out there. We're hearing about all these different coordinators who may be next in line to get head coaching jobs. I think we all agree that Jerod Mayo is not in any danger, but for the guys like DeMarcus Covington, for someone like Alex Van Pelt even, and some of the assistants and guys underneath them who maybe help out with the play calling, do you think that the Crafts might be open to the idea of going in a different direction?
Yes, I do, because I think this is just the way it works across the league. I don't think a team that could finish 3-14 or 4-13 in year 1 and the defense takes a dramatic step back and maybe the offense isn't creative enough for their liking. And remember, it's easier for an owner, an 82-year-old owner, to look at his offense and say, I don't know why I call that play. Like, defensively, you kind of don't necessarily know what you're looking at. But offensively, a lot of people think they do know what they're looking at, and say to Gerard, hey, look, you're coming back, but you got to change. Like, I can't sell to the fan base. You can't sell to me, like, if you're going to change the wide receiver coach and the running back coach, that's enough to make this staff what it needs to be. And so, I felt all along that Alex was probably the more likely of the two, because maybe now the job becomes more attractive because you have Drake. But clearly of the two coordinators, I think DeMarcus has done the least, and is the one that actually should be in the spotlight versus what Alex has done, especially since Drake's become the quarterback.
Mike, before we let you go, reaction to the Bill Belichick apparent interview with North Carolina, and what do you think it says about his coaching future?
Well, now there's just a report, I think, in the last 20 minutes that he met with them again, maybe in New York City. So maybe there is a little bit more to this than what I first thought, where I kind of just looked at it like, all right, he's trying to use them. Hey, I'll coach in college, and they're using him, saying like, hey, our job is really attractive. We got Bill Belichick, but we're going to choose you over him. Now maybe there is a little bit more to it. I just wonder, like with Bill, and I think we all thought last year he was going to get a job, and he didn't get a job. He's going to be 73 in April. What's the long-term plan? Because who's he bringing behind him? It's no one's going to take the Josh McDaniels, Matt Patricia succession plan anymore, right? So Stephen Belichick, at least not on the NFL level, I don't think that would fly. So where do you go? You're signing up for 2 or 3 years of Bill, and then it's over, and you're trying to find somebody else. So I can see maybe more and more the NFL might be a little bit more difficult to get back into than we initially thought.
Mike Giardi, Boston Sports Journal, thanks for the time. We appreciate it.
Always a pleasure, boys.
Aggregate that, bitches.
Aggregate that, indeed. Mike Giardi, Boston Sports Journal.